about them. Let me pull up the agenda. I guess first off, I would like to give a warm welcome to Karen, who is, I think we're going to have to say Karen E and Karen J when we're talking, but Karen, if you just want to say hello, she is actually going to be taking over sponsorships for Independence Days.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. I got to Independence like 6 months ago. I'm an AmeriCorps Rare member, and I was looking for ways to get more involved and volunteer in the community, and I'm really excited to be part of Independence Days. So, thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, thanks, Karen. We're very excited that you're here. Specifically, I am, so then I don't have to also do sponsorships. Okay, so we have a couple big things that I thought we could look at doing tonight, or talking about tonight. The finalizing, I don't know if you have the agenda in front of you, but the finalizing the event layout, we are actually going to push to next meeting, just because there's still some things that need to be figured out before we jump into a discussion about that. But I would like, one of the biggest things tonight is to kind of talk about the event schedule, so that we can get that finalized. And I'm not sure, Karen, were you able to send the proposed event schedule out by chance? Karen J.
Finally found my buttons. Yeah, I think I did. Hopefully everybody got it. If not, let me know. I could send it down.
Okay. Does everyone have the proposed schedule?
I don't.
Okay.
Nor do I. I just got the agenda.
Okay.
I'm having some technical difficulties with my laptop, so Outlook just isn't very happy with me right now. So hopefully this won't be too challenging, and I'll get it sent right out.
So do y'all know how to get rid of your background on Zoom? I only know how to do it on Teams. You don't need to look at my stuff in the background.
I think you go up to more and do in the top corner where the three dots are, and then it says back.
Just on your picture, if you look at your image of yourself and click on the three dots, you should find it.
I find mute my audio, stop video, rename, pin video, hide self view.
Okay, I just emailed out to everyone the proposed schedule that I sent to Karen. So if you want to check have that there. So I highlighted some of the items that I was unfamiliar with or unsure about. And so I'm hoping that everyone can kind of help maybe fill in some of those gaps. I think the biggest thing is, I don't know if we've ever really decided on what time we want to open on Saturday, the very first day. I think 12 o'clock was discussed, and then also 3 p.m. was thrown out to do like more of an evening thing, but I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks would work best for that first kickoff day. Anyone have any suggestions or comments about what time they feel it should start?
I think it depends on how much, I mean, yeah, you've got a really great schedule. Do we have enough volunteers to run everything?
So the games, if you're talking about the games that day, the water balloon toss, the four-legged race, the kiting contest, I actually talked to Andrea at the YMCA today, and she said that that is something that she thinks those activities that they could actually absorb to be leading as well as the kids tent, that they are going to look into possibly even hire, like having staff that day too, to make sure that they can do everything, because they're very excited to participate as much as possible. Originally those items were also, or those activities were also on Sunday and Monday, but since we have hired Doc Titus to do a lot of daytime activities. He kind of brings all of his own supplies in his own fund. So I don't know if it would necessarily be, I just think that might not be excessive, but just something that we wouldn't have to worry about on those days. So I guess I felt that they might be better suited on that Saturday when there's not a ton going on during the day. And so, as I mentioned, the YMCA seemed like they were interested in possibly managing those events and activities. But that doesn't mean we have to have them if people don't feel like they're right.
I like the idea of them. I think it's ties right in with what Independence Days is all about, a big family event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like town night, so it kind of seems right for them to fit in there.
Yeah, since it's a Saturday and it's the kids stuff, kids are not going to be well corralled until evening. They're going to want to start their 4th of July. I think starting earlier is a great idea.
Okay, so what's earlier to you, Liam?
Well, noonish, I would think, rather than wait for an evening thing.
Is there anyone else that's on the noon train?
This is Kimber. Noon would work, I think, for me to be able to schedule from 12 to basically 12 to 11 is what I would schedule if the gates are open and taking wristbands as far as cert goes. I don't know that I'd want to go any earlier than that.
Mm-hmm, I agree. Okay. Any other comments about the start time on Saturday?
I think that that the vendors would appreciate a start time around noon, because that gives them, time to set up in the mornings and then maximum exposure to make some money. Will they be as busy as they are going to be in the evening? Probably not. But if some of the community knows that they're going to be open earlier, I'm sure that'll get, especially that Pinkies one. I mean, people will get there early so they don't have to fight the line later.
Okay. All right, so it sounds like everyone's, for the most part, is on board with a start time of noon on Saturday, which means that we would basically open the gates at noon on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Okay, so then that answers that question. Kimber, do you know if Team Rubicon was still planning on doing the flag ceremony in the mornings and in the evenings?
I can certainly ask. My guess is yes, they would.
Okay.
For sure in the evenings. Not sure about the mornings, but I'll ask for both.
Okay. Well, and you'll just let me know what they end up deciding. Okay, thank you.
I don't know if you saw my message in chat, Courtney, but my daughter Megan Stutzman is with us tonight also.
Oh, I did not. Thank you for letting me know. Hi, Megan. Okay, and then the community church, Vidal, did you hear anything back from Andy or Ben at the Grove? I called Ben and he didn't return my call yet. So I'm just curious if you heard anything back on if, oh, you're not there. And he's back. Okay, we'll come back to Vidal. But I think those are really the only questions I had. Overall, looking at the schedule, I can give everyone a couple minutes to see if there's anything that anyone feels is missing or has been in the past that's not listed. I guess it's the same as missing. Or if there's anything that you'd like to see added this year new.
The only question I had, Courtney, was regarding the community church. Is since we have a new church downtown, a second one, do we want to see if the Grove would be interested in inviting them to have a joint service?
I can answer that question probably pretty securely for Andy, since I go to the church. That would be something that he would probably not want to do right now, just because there's a new associate pastor that's started last year, but wouldn't really get a chance to kind of do his thing for that. And it's such a short service. compared to the one that's in Monmouth. Monmouth, they have a few churches involved, and it's very quick. And I think he wants to keep it all kind of the same message. He could probably answer better, but I can tell you, I've asked him. I've wanted to get more churches involved in the past, and he wasn't very interested in that. It would be nice to probably invite another church since they just opened. That's the one on C Street you're talking about.
Yes. And that's what the community church used to be. It used to be they moved to Monmouth. We used to have all of the churches here for the service.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna talk to him on Saturday. I'll be chatting with him, so I can bring that up to him if you like.
I just threw it out there to find out what everybody else thought.
Are there any other comments about community church? Okay. And Vidal, has there been discussion on if the Grove would like to be the one to host the community church?
Yes, and they were supposed to be here. Were they here last month?
No.
Okay. Well, Ben, who is the new associate pastor, said he was going to go talk to you last month. The last time I talked to him, he's, I got it on my calendar. I'm going to talk to her this week. That was last month. So obviously that didn't happen. So I will get with him too and let him know that needs to happen before we start planning something completely different that doesn't involve him.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. And I think we can also look to the future. If we do see more churches in the area that want to participate, then maybe we can rediscuss as a group if we would like to see that reopened up to multiple churches or how we want to continue that.
I think that would be awesome myself.
Okay. But for this year, we'll just stay the course. So that way we don't have to go and plan extra things.
Yeah, because they pretty much handle everything from their own sound to setup and everything. All we have to do is have someone open the stage and it's go time.
Okay. Okay, so any other comments about the schedule? Okay, so this will be, obviously if things come up, we can always add them in there, but at least in terms of start time, end times, and some of the elements of the day of, we have it now figured out. So yay!
Hey, Courtney, really quick.
Yeah.
I was gonna wait until it was my turn, but my comment or question has kind of to do with the schedule. And so as far as security and stuff goes, the more hours that we have open in the park, the more security need there's going to be, which is going to increase the costs of security. So having, a movie that goes until almost midnight, and then, just those kind of things are just going to increase the needs for having security personnel on site. So it's just something that's we're going to have to consider when it comes down to budgeting for security. And I can talk a little bit more about that when we get to that, but just info.
Okay, when you do talk about that, will you, I don't know if you have to write up the numbers or whatnot to figure it out, but in your quotes that you've gotten, does it list how many hours of security is provided in those quotes?
Yeah, so I actually don't have a quote back from the vendor that we've used previously because they are still waiting for their rates to come back from corporate, because just like everything else, their costs are going up. But the manager for our district hasn't gotten that information from them yet. And he was hoping that was going to happen this week, but I haven't heard from him yet about that. So that's kind of where that's at.
Okay, because I think, I don't know, did you tell him how many hours that you were going to be requesting security for in order to get the quote, or do they have any number right now?
No, I didn't give them any numbers so far. I wanted to see what their rates were going to be. I have the tentative plan that I kind of started to put together as far as hours. And I will have to go back into that and see if what I put together is going to fit with the hours that we have scheduled in here. I just got this now, so I haven't had a chance to really look through it that much yet.
Okay. Okay, well then going back to the agenda. Ticketing, we can move on to that. We had talked in the past about possibly moving to a QR code for ticketing. And I have had talks with Justin and Aaron in terms of how that would work logistically. I've also met with Jason to talk more about the technology side of it and what we would need as a city in order to make that switch. And Jason and I felt like we needed to actually have a meeting with Eventbrite to kind of get some of our questions answered before we actually were able to really compare apples to apples. And they haven't got back to me yet. So I am fine continuing on with wristbands this year. I wanted to open that up to everyone to see how everyone felt about the QR codes versus the wristbands. But from all the research that I've done, that's probably the route that I would recommend for this year. And then if we are able to get in touch with Eventbrite and figure out the QR codes for next year, then that might be something for the future. Is there any comments about that? Okay, everyone.
I have one quick one, Courtney.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't here. I apologize for the last one. So just on the equitable side of that, is that going to be the only route to get into the park, is having to have some to scan with the QR code, or folks that don't have any type of cell phones or tablets would, how would they go in?
Yeah, I have the same concern. We want to be as inclusive as possible. So if we go to QR codes, so long as we have a backup for people who don't have smartphones, that's fine.
Yeah, that was one thing that was going to be discussed, possibly a prepaid option at City Hall where people could stop by and actually pick up, again, printed tickets with a possible QR code as well. So there are options, but like I said, those were some of the questions that we were looking to get answered by Eventbrite that we haven't had answered yet. And so I guess for me personally, I don't feel comfortable going that route just because I don't have all the answers yet for it. So if everyone else is on board with the wristbands, then it seems like that might be the best route for this year.
Yeah, I mean, the wristbands all come with their own set of challenges sometimes, but I definitely would echo, and Courtney, you probably do some of this too, but I do a ton of stuff with Eventbrite and my other jobs, and it's not infallible. And even working with a relatively tech savvy group of people for what I do, there are still often people who cannot figure it out, and carrying around a piece of paper that you lose out of your pocket or whatever is a set of problems. And I agree, there's probably a big segment of our population that would not be able to navigate that well. So I would echo wristbands definitely this year, and probably be worth a long, hard look for next year.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, so then it sounds like we will stick with the wristbands, and great. Another thing checked off the list. Wristbands it is. So moving on to the next agenda item, it is the finalizing the new event layout. However, that is not completed yet. So if there is anything that anyone has any concern or recommendations or frustrations with the past layout, feel free to share them now. The proposed layout will not be finalized. It will be up to the commission to decide if they feel like that's the best route to go. But we are meeting with Justin to go over the security measures. I've been meeting with Aaron to go over the gating logistics and how much gating we have and how does it work in terms of locations where people have entry points. And also going to be working with Lisa to figure out the vendor layout and the power that's associated with the need for each vendor. So there's lots of moving parts with that. And so it's a really big discussion, and it takes a lot of time to really make sure that we have the best layout possible. So we'll be kind of meeting outside of the commission meetings to figure out some of those things. So if anyone else would like to join in on any of those meetings, feel free to let me know, and I can always let you know when we're planning to meet at the park to talk about those things. So that way you can join in if you'd like to.
This is Kimber. I'd love to be able to make that if possible.
Okay, thanks, Kimber. Okay, and so we will move that to next meeting to talk about finalized layout. So jumping to the next item on the agenda is communication. Specifically, I was just curious about, I know that I talked with Lisa this week about the Independence Days vendor at gmail.com account. And I know that we have an Independence Days at gmail.com account that from my understanding, we're unable to get that login information from Janice, and no one's been able to get that info. Is that correct?
I may have that. Let me check my book real quick.
Okay, thanks, Kimber. In trying to track down this information, it made me question if there were other commissioners that should be having an email. Specifically, I was thinking about Karen for sponsorships. It seems like maybe we should create an email account for Karen to be able to communicate, so that way she doesn't have to use a personal one. And from my understanding, Vidal was also using a personal email last year for, or in years past for the talent show. And so I think that if that's the case, then maybe he should also be, the talent show should maybe get its own email. And so I just wanted to start that conversation to see how the commission felt about adding a couple email accounts for Independence Days, and if there was any other, if there was anyone else that felt they should have a separate special email account.
First of all, I think we need to bring Jason into the conversation since he's our IT guy.
Yes, that's a great idea. I did talk with Jason about possibly creating some city email accounts, but unfortunately he did mention that only city staff would be able to access those emails or those email accounts. And I just think the longevity of this commission, it is meant to be a community ran commission. And so I guess in my opinion, it would need to be something that could be accessed and utilized by the community. So I don't know if Jason is on tonight. I thought he was on vacation. Jason, are you there? Yeah, it could just be, I don't know if he's there or not, but I can loop back to Jason to talk to him about the logistics, but is there any comments about what I just said about emails?
Well, I think it would be great to have one for the talent show, just because both Nathan and myself, I think, are going to be bouncing in there, and I'm sure he's very busy with his own email as well. So if we had one, just that specific one, whatever talent show, indie or Independence talent show or whatever, be pretty nice to have and user friendly and make every life much easier for that.
Okay.
So yeah, if we can get something like it's at independencedays.org or something like that instead of the city's email account, I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think it's a great idea for the sponsorship one too, so that in future years, whoever is doing it will be able to have access also to all those conversations, and all of the outreach that was done is accessible to people in the future. So that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Karen. Okay, any other comments about the email accounts? Okay, so going forward, I'll connect with Jason to see if there's something that we can do that's like at independencedays.org, and we'll bring that information back at the next meeting. Also on communication, I just was curious about the social media and website access, and if who has the login information for both of those things, the Facebook and the website.
I have WordPress and I'm guessing Gmail. I'm getting ready to send that to Facebook page.
Sorry, Kimber, you cut out there. I didn't hear you. Could you?
Oh, sorry. I said I have what I think is the Gmail account a login, a password. I'm getting ready to send that to you in an email. I have the WordPress login info, and I'm an admin on the Facebook page.
Oh, great. Okay. So you are my girl to check in with then.
I'm going to send you all that right now.
Okay, thank you. Awesome.
Was there an Instagram one too? I want to say that I thought my my cousin Tony was doing something with Instagram for Independence Days last year, or the year before.
Kimber, are you aware if there is a Instagram account?
Ooh, that one I don't know. I'll look for it, but her passwords are fairly consistent. So if I can track it down, I'll see if I'll try a few of these if they work. I don't know for sure though.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll text her too and see if she had anything like that.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, then moving down on the agenda is the Indie Days talent show. And Vidal, I don't know if you wanted to talk about the talent show and a little bit about the prize requests that we discussed.
Sure. So bringing the talent show back, I think it's a great idea for that Sunday, because there was, in years past, Sunday's kind of a hard to fill some time in there, especially when the 4th of July is on Monday. In the past, it went great. So in doing that, in the past, we have not had monetary prizes for the contestants. They were like baskets, prize baskets, which were great. The biggest draw was that they would be able to open up for the headlining act on 4th of July in front of 30,000 people. So that was huge to them. But getting people to come in for that without really knowing, I mean, people who don't know the Independence Days and the amount of people that are there, it was hard to get some contestants. So with the prize package that Courtney has come up with, and we're able to break it down by age groups to I think a pretty fair amount to offer the contestants for second and third. We broke down the age groups for under 11 and under, 12 through 17, and 18 and over adults. Between Nathan and myself, off the top of our heads, we know we have quite a large pool of talent that we can tap in different community theater, local artists, dance, singers, all those kind of things. I think we'll have no problem filling up the slots that we have. I think Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong, we were talking about trying to have at least 15 acts. And then there was rounds that would whittle down that 2 hours I think we have set aside. Is it was it 5 to 7:30?
Yes, I mean, that's what I put on the schedule based on our conversations.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that Doc Titus has 12 to 5. So if we did need to move, if for some reason we have just this amazing amount of interest in it, then perhaps we could move it up in like a half an hour. And that a DJ is very flexible rather than moving bands around. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great event, and brings a lot of people to the park because they all want to see their people compete. Courtney had talked about in lieu of judges. In the past, we have had live judges, and that ate up a lot of the time because they could comment, vote, and then there's a lot of time eaten up in that, and it's fun. It's like kind of American Idol-ish, and that was fun. But in the interest of time, using what the text your favorite. What did you call that, Courtney, again?
Yeah, we have a texting platform that we've used at the city to where people can basically text in their answers or text in, it would basically be a people's choice talent show rather than having judges.
And when you were talking about that QR code for the entry fee, I was also thinking about equity in that as well. So we can kind of think about that. I don't want people to say, well, I wanted to vote for this person, but I don't have a phone. Or, maybe we can have a way of helping them out to get a vote somehow. I doubt the number will probably be pretty small, but it's still in the interest of equity. I think we need to consider that.
Can I point out one thing?
Sure.
And I don't know if you're looking for like really good talent or, if that's really important or not. But if you're just doing a popularity, text in who you like best, and Joe here has 47 aunts and uncles there, and somebody who's much more talented only has 2 people that know them. Is it really a true talent show, or is it a popularity contest? That's all.
I think
want good talent there. They're going to want their talent judged by somebody who knows what talent is.
Sure, and that's what we've had in the past is a panel of judges that come from the artistic field, and I mean this is something we're gonna try, something new, and if it doesn't work out that way, and if it does come out to like you said, someone brings 1,000 people that and they're up there juggling frogs, and someone else has got the 8-piece symphonic quartet and
Exactly.
brought 3 people. Yeah, I mean, is it?
Vidal, why don't you have the judges, have a certain number of judges and they just confer amongst themselves and then come up with a score and hold up the score. No
Or-
discussion, nothing that would take up time necessarily, but like they do on dance competitions, they just hold up a number.
It could
That
also 50% of their score is the judges and 50% is the public choice or something. I think there's
we could combine something like that. There is there are people's choice influencing the outcome along with the judges. The only problem is in the past, trying to get people to be a part of it, to be a judge is sometimes difficult. Of course, in the past, it lasted 4 and 5 hours, the whole 5 rounds of competition. And then it was whittled down to 3 hours the following year. And it was still great, but it still took some convincing to get some people there. And I had I don't remember if I was working at Mechanical at the time, but I was able to feed them and give them drinks too. So it was somewhat worth their time.
I just know as a performer, if you go up there and you perform and somebody who is really not very good is going to win because they have the popular vote, it's going to lessen for the coming years, it's going to lessen people wanting to participate is my thought. But that's just
sure. And that's a great thought. And it's a valid point. And I've seen that in the past as well. I see Justin typed in a message that said just have a single vote that is the people's choice, and then they can't derail the actual talent. And then Karen's suggestion to find judges from the drama music departments locally. Those are all great ideas. And I do have access to and friends that are in the WU drama departments and the music departments and the central ones and then my own community theater as well that I could draw from. But I would think we were talking about in the interest of time to do that within 2 hours or 2.5 hours. And we still need to speak with Jason to see how quickly that would work and how the logistics of the text to vote how quickly and accurate that is too.
It's instant.
Yeah, it's instant.
Mhm.
Okay, so
We
that's
can
it.
talk about logistics maybe more at a different time and
Sure.
we get a little
Well,
bit deep.
I think it's great feedback from the commission as well to give me this information, and I had a feeling that would come up, because it's always definitely uh, a more exact result when there is a panel of judges that, even if it's just three that are going to say, hey, well, based on performance, stage presence, and appearance, I mean, all those things.
Yeah.
Rather than, like you said, 47 aunts and uncles.
But I like
Um,
Courtney's idea of maybe a 50-50, judges
Yeah.
and popular vote.
Absolutely.
Because while the judges may be experts on the performances, sometimes maybe it's not the most perfect voice, but it's just the person who's the most engaging
Absolutely.
and the one that appeals to a crowd. So
And what we also want to do is bring people to the park. So, if someone does bring 100 people to watch him perform, we also want to recognize that also, for people in the future to say, hey, well, I need to bring some people down here next time, or something like that. I mean, the goal is to have an activity that people can come and watch and attend and fill the park, purchase from downtown and purchase from the vendors, and we have a full event.
Mhm. Okay. Well, good. I think that's good discussion for the talent show. Do we need to make a motion if we are looking at possibly committing some funds from the miscellaneous fund to be prize money, since that wasn't originally budgeted, or how does that work, Karen?
So Courtney, when you say miscellaneous, do you mean that the extra unbudgeted resources or whatever? Yeah,
Yeah.
we would probably need to make some sort of a formal.
Motion.
Do we have, who do we actually have enough people to make the decision? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think, is Justin a form member? I think he is. 6. So yeah, that would be enough. So
What is that total amount in there?
I believe it's 7. Another. It is 790.
That's all 3 age groups
Mhm.
totals. Okay.
That's the total.
So I'll make a motion that we allow $790 for the talent show prizes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Justin. Thank you. All right. Then moving on the agenda. Thank you so much for all for this.
We need a vote.
Yeah, you need to vote. All those in favor.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Yay. Okay. Sorry, I do just want to jump back really quickly to the schedule. The Sunday night, I know that in the past it's been historic, as Justin brought up, to have a movie in the park in the evening. Lisa, this might be a question for you, but do the vendors stay open through that whole time that the movie is going, or do they normally close at like 10 or 11, or how does that work?
I'm not sure. They could, I believe they would stay open, but we can't have them, it would have to be consistent. So we would need to require them to stay open, or they could all close at a certain time, but we can't have them coming in and out of the park until the park has been cleared. So that would be my concern, is whatever we decide, it has to be consistent. And
So you're saying they could stay open and vend, or like, let's say, so if the movie starts at 9:45, if we wanted to say, vending ends at 10:30 that night or something, so that way people can get their snacks before the movie, but they're required to stay in place or not to drive into the park until midnight, or how has that worked in the past?
they can't move any vehicles or anything in or out of the park until the park is cleared of people. So it would be after the movie's over and everyone's cleared out.
Okay, but has there been like a requirement to stay open for a certain period of time for the movie or anything, or they can be closed during the movie, or?
I don't recall a time that we've had the movie going on while the vendors were there on an official day.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Okay. We're in new territory is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess going back to that schedule, do we want to continue with having a movie on Sunday night? Because the other idea is we obviously have a band coming in after the talent show. So we could just have music that evening and just have two bands to end it, and do the exact same thing of ending it at 10:30 or 10 o'clock like we do on the other nights. That's up for discussion. So
Courtney, I would vote for no movie.
okay.
I would also vote for no movie, because Independence has their movie nights and they have their band nights.
Okay, so no movie.
Yeah.
And also
I would
Lisa?
agree no movie too, because midnight,
Yeah.
keep having a vendor stay till midnight when they're not even getting people to go and buy anything would probably be pretty annoying to them.
Yeah, and since it's a Sunday night, I don't know how many people would stay and buy stuff until midnight, and then plus a lot still, even though the next day is the 4th of July, some people may have to go to work and all of that stuff. So
all right, so bands will be there. All right. Perfect. So then the new end of night will be probably very similar to the other ones at the 10:25, 10:30 timeframe. Maybe even a little earlier since there's not fireworks. But I can talk with Nathan about what the band layout will be there after the talent show, and then we'll just go from there in terms of when the end will be. Okay, sorry, jumping back into the agenda then. Okay, so we're now into roundtable updates. We can start with, I don't have any updates as of right now, any new updates than what we've already talked about. So I will start with Leanne then. Leanne, do you have any finance updates for us? Oh, you're on mute.
I do not. I have been watching to see if anything's coming through my email, and I have seen nothing. So at this point, I do have nothing to update.
Okay, thank you. Parks and Pyrotechnics, Aaron's not here tonight, but I know that we have been working with Heather at Western Display to get the fireworks contracts figured out and signed. So I know that that's all going smoothly. Do we have anyone or any ideas of someone who would be good to handle some of the decorations on the day of? Is there anyone that anyone can think of that comes to mind that would enjoy that aspect? If not, that's okay. Maybe just be thinking in your head as you're talking with people, if there's someone that might be interested in doing that. This would be something that they would probably do on Friday. And so they wouldn't actually have to do much in terms of probably time commitment on the 4th or even over the weekend.
What are they decorating?
I think it was mentioned in the last commission meeting that there's, there's paint if we wanted to paint stars on the grass, there's banners and ribbons. I have a meeting next week with Erin to actually take a tour of the Connex. So I can, once I get that list of stuff that's in the Connex, I can let everyone know what's in there and share that list.
Courtney Megan says she's all over that one.
Oh, yay. Thanks, Megan. All right, I will, like I said, I'll be emailing out the list of everything that's in the Connex, so that way everyone has it to know what they can utilize. So I will make sure. Kimber, can you actually email me Megan's contact info?
I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, public safety then. Justin, do you want to go first?
Yeah, that's fine. So I think, like I said, if we can eliminate some of the later night stuff like the movie, that's going to be beneficial. That day on Sunday is going to be a really light day anyway, I think. So we were anticipating not having as many people and so not needing as much security for that day anyway. If we're running about 11, 12 hours a day from starting gates to when we end, that may increase the total number of hours that we need for security. I'll have to go through that with the security company and just make sure that they're comfortable with the hours that we're recommending for them. And so if we do have to increase some hours, that may increase our budget to a certain extent, but I really have to wait until we hear back from them on what their fees are going to be or the increase in their hourly rates from last year. Other than that, I'm supposed to be having a meeting with them again. They have a specific person that is kind of dedicated for traffic control stuff. And I guess she's a pretty big traffic control wizard. So she's done the plans for like the Olympic trials and things like that. So they're going to take the control plan that we've used in the past and get that to her. And I think Erin and I are going to try to meet with her and see kind of what we've done in the past and what her recommendations are, because they have people for their company that are a little bit better at traffic control stuff than others. And they weren't really aware of what the needs were last year. And there were some people that were working the event that were pretty overwhelmed with their traffic assignment. And that was probably a communication issue on our part. And we'll try and get that fixed and kind of just keep moving from there.
Great. Thank you. Keep us posted. Kimber, did you have anything you wanted to add on public safety?
No, I pretty much follow whatever IPD tells us to do. And so I will kind of lightly work on staffing the gates as usual for my folks to be there half an hour before they're set to open and staying until half an hour after they're set to close. We have not assisted with traffic the last several years. So unless Justin tells me otherwise, I will assume I'm not assisting with traffic again. And, Justin, if you need anything different than has been standard for the last few years, just let me know.
Are you, do you manage the first aid tent? And is that something that you need volunteers for, or how can you explain that?
It depends. So I guess that's a two-part question. One, we will always have first aid available at the CERT booth, and I always have a medical person of one of my members there. So whether they're an EMT or a retired nurse or physician, Polk 1, often if they have availability with their volunteers, will man a more robust, first aid stand if they can. It's kind of been a different answer each year based on their availability, and that would be a Chief Stangy question.
Okay. All right, thank you. Vendor update, Lisa.
Well, I got my update about where we are with the vendor handbook, and Courtney and Natasha have been working on updating the handbook and revising it and putting it into, we're working on some different formatting for the handbook and the application. So still a little more work to do on that, but we're working toward everything being digital. The form can be filled out online. They can make the payment there as they're filling out their application. And then we had talked about maybe having just some copies of the handbook and application at City Hall for people to come and fill out. And we have a lot of vendors that it's their standard practice to write a check. So just trying to navigate ourselves into a new way of doing things without causing too much disruption while we change over into that. I have a lot of people emailing me already asking about the event and when it's happening and what's happening. So we're working on getting that up and onto the website as soon as possible. And then once that's ready, I'll send out notices to everyone that has been a vendor in the past, inviting them to join. And then Courtney, the one thing I thought to ask you, did we put anything in there about decorating their booths? We had talked about that last time and having an incentive for
I didn't, but that it can be added for sure.
yeah, I think that's something we always seem to think of at the last minute, but it was really popular when we did it. And then they're providing the decorations for part of the park and instead of us.
That Lisa is talking about is that if we possibly did a vendor decoration contest of some sort, the winner would basically get their booth fees refunded. So as an incentive to try to get vendors to really decorate their spaces.
Yeah, so at this point, if any of you know people that have craft booths or food trucks or anything that might be interested, send them my way. I try to use just the email for communication because it's easier to have a central place where everything comes, but it's independencedaysvendor@gmail.com. Just have them shoot me an email. And
Lisa, I have a question for you. Is there, I see a lot of posts on like the Salem Eats page and Salem Eats 2.0. People are looking for vendors for their events. And they have a shareable post. So then they tag their friends in it that have food trucks or whatever. Do we have something, or can we make a Facebook post asking for people that are interested, click this link or here's our email. And then we can put them on those types of social media pages or event group pages, I guess, group chats. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think what we're trying to do is guide people into this social media realm and checking for that, checking there for updates and for a way to share what we're doing with the mass public. So
Right.
Yeah, I can look into that as well.
Lisa or Natasha is the one that's kind of leading the marketing. And so Lisa, myself, and Natasha have been meeting, and we plan to meet next week to actually kick off the call for vendors on social media. So we'll be getting a post on that Independence Day's Facebook page. The city will be sharing it. We're hoping that anyone and everyone that would like to help get that word out can share it to other community pages and other pages.
Absolutely.
There's frequent. So
yeah, let me know when that is, and I can get some of that out to those foodie pages too.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay. Anything else for vendors, Lisa?
Nope, don't think so.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Sponsors. Karen is going to be taking that over and transitioning. So probably next meeting, you'll be hearing from Karen, but I will just mention that at this time we have $9,000 committed in sponsors. And we are just continuing to truck along. Next on the agenda is the entertainment. Nathan and I have also been talking about bands and working out, just kind of both using our event brains to try to figure out what bands might fit some of the slots for the entertainment. And it's so nice to have someone that's so well versed in the music industry, you know, saying, oh, this band does this and this band does this. So he's got some really cool ideas. It looks like Ty Curtis might be the headliner on the 4th and do a electric guitar national anthem. And then we have the Boondock Boys as our headliners for the 4th of July, who also do kind of like country rock. So it seems like we have our headliners figured out, and we have both of the national anthems figured out, and we're just kind of working backwards now to fill in all of the holes leading up to the opening acts each day. So I'm sure he'll have more to report on next time, as like I said, we were kind of waiting for a schedule to be finalized so that way he could see all the gaps that he needed to fill for the entertainment. We do have Doc Titus booked for the daytime entertainment on Sunday and Monday. And we also have Twisty the Great, who is a magician / balloon artist that will probably hang out mostly in the kids area. And he'll be doing 2 magic shows each of the days. And then all the other time he'll just be twisting and making balloons for all the children. Going on to volunteers, Ramon is not here, but we did get together a really good solid list of new position titles and volunteers that are going to be needed. So he should be getting that up on the platform, I would assume by next meeting as well, to get that finalized. If you've thought of any volunteer positions that aren't on the list, I will actually make a note to have that sent out to the commission before next meeting, so that way you can review it in advance. And if you think of anything, other positions that aren't on there, you can come to the meeting or email and let Ramon know that it needs to be added. But we are starting to promote the volunteer positions and openings through our city newsletter and other opportunities that we have when it comes to volunteers.
Hey, this is Kimber. Quick question. Are we going to have like a Indie Days info booth staffed this year?
Great question, Kimber.
If so, that would be something we could seek additional volunteers for that don't really need to know much other than give directions from the booth and point to the answers on the flyers that are posted.
Actually, we talked at an earlier meeting, Courtney, about maybe some counselors manning that booth.
Oh, nice. Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah. And then we could have a little bit of city info as well as Independence Days info. It's kind of all mixed in together. Just have flyers out of other stuff.
I know in the
We
past
could promote the summer series and that kind of thing.
Are we planning on doing a staff booth or a city booth? Or is that what that normally is the Independence?
That's what it normally is a kind of a combo kind of a thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, So, and I've in the past, like, if we can get a good schedule for Independence Days, I can get those printed and have them at the booth. So people, if they want to know exactly when Ty Curtis is going to play, they can look at the schedule and that kind of stuff. In addition to having, I'm sure we'll have it all on Facebook on a QR code or something, but for those who are challenged.
Okay. That's definitely something we can add to the volunteer if we'd like. Because
I will ask the council members to step up and volunteer, and then I'll sign them up.
Go get them, Karen. Shannon, did you have anything else to add? Okay.
No, exactly what Karen said. I'll help Karen out with that.
Okay. So Andrea is not here for family activities, and Natasha is not here for publicity and social media. So the last thing I just wanted to bring up when it comes to volunteers is the gates, cleanup, and parking. Those are 3 big volunteer positions that we normally work with organizations or groups at the high school. And I know that there has been interest from West Salem. And I'm just curious if there was an update or if anyone had any new information on a group that wanted to take over that was more local, preferably Independence / Monmouth. and when everyone, I guess, feels we should no longer hold out for an Independence Monmouth group to step up to that and be okay with a West Salem group doing it.
Can I just ask a little bit, catching up, who we've reached out to so far?
I don't know if someone else wants to jump in, but from my understanding, Central High School has been reached out to, and none of the groups that the senior group isn't interested this year. Has anyone else had any other contact with any other groups, Leanne?
I emailed the youth pastor at West Salem Foursquare, but I haven't heard anything back, so.
Okay.
I would suggest reaching out to the folks that are fundraising for the new skate park.
Definitely. Can we get I forget how much we offer to share in the funds with these groups. Could we get some sort of a thing so that way we know, that if you staff the gates for this many hours, you get X number of dollars, and same with the parking and those kinds of things, and or a flat rate if you do the garbage all 3 days. And so if we know that, then we can go to those different organizations and say, hey, how would you like to make a couple of $1,000 in 3 days,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can try together something like that based on the information I have with the event layouts, and we'll know how many gate entries we have and how many people we need for the gates. I guess probably won't change either way. We're just looking for a group to manage the parking at the dog park. Is that correct? And then the cleanup will be for the entire event. So, okay.
Yeah, we used to have people manage parking like at the library, and I don't know if they are going to be managing it now in the new public parking area down behind the Elks Club Hotel, Osprey Point, that new one. I don't know what, that one's just going to be handicap parking from what I understand. And we probably need to have somebody there to make sure that it is just handicap decal vehicles parking there.
So that might be an additional position.
Yeah.
I have kind of a wild thought and idea, and in full disclosure, I'm a member of this organization, but in a very backseat role. But we have a couple active dog rescues in the area that might enjoy working the gates, as well as, maybe we could let them post a couple pictures of their current adoptables at the gate, maybe as people see it going through, with some information on them. But they're hungry for funds right now. All of the COVID adopted pets are flooding our rescues to the point that we've closed, stopped taking any new intakes right now because we have over 65 foster homes that are already full of foster dogs. So they might appreciate some funding. It's a different kind of group, but if we still want to keep it fairly local, I can reach out to a few of those.
Yeah, that would be great if you could, and just report back next week and let me know, or let us know if anyone is interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So then moving forward, it looks like the last thing on the agenda is just the parade, mini marathon, and community church. We've already discussed the community church in detail. Karen, did you have any updates about the parade?
Yes, I do. I was at Rotary today, and they got their final, okay, the Department of Transportation, ODOT, has approved their permit for the parade. So with the two cities and ODOT, they're good to go. Justin, I was hoping that maybe if we're going to have that traffic person, they could help assist the Rotary, try to tell them what is needed, because sometimes I feel like they're very, very good at having enough volunteers at the beginning of the parade and getting it started. But then when it comes down to the end of town here, people just kind of go every which way and clog up things. And so if we could make sure that we had some extra people, and I don't know what that would take, but a traffic person who could tell us what is needed would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can send them my contact info and just
Okay.
have them get a hold of me, I'll include them in our planning.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. We are ending a little late, but if there's nothing else to discuss for this month, then we will adjourn and see everyone next month.